Welcome back to the deep dive. Ever feel that the whole happily ever after story kind of misses, well, a big chunk of what love is actually like? Today, we're plunging into a critical look at Abhijit Chakraborty's pretty bold book, Love Has Expiry Date. Our mission, really, is to pull out the key ideas from this unique take on modern romance. Help you get informed, fast.
And what's really striking, I think, is how it just dives right in. It sets this stage for exploring, the fragility of romance,
Oh, yeah.
your impermanence.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
definitely a challenging look, but maybe a more honest one,
Yeah.
beyond the usual fairy tales.
Totally. Chakraborty doesn't waste any time, does he? It's quite a sobering view right from the start. The review mentions relationships marred by tragedy, betrayal, jealousy, and fate's cruel twists, even death.
Mhm.
How does grounding it all in that kind of raw reality, how does that help him explore emotional intimacy, do you think?
Well, it immediately sets up this stark contrast, right, to the typical romance narrative. The premise is all about that heartbreak that comes when the initial illusions fade. So by showing love at its most painful, its most vulnerable, Chakraborty kind of forces you, the reader, to face these tougher truths about connection. It's not about being cynical, necessarily, but maybe just acknowledging
Yeah.
reality.
And the writing style seems key to that. The review calls the prose evocative and raw. Sounds intense. Plus, the stories are short, averaging only a few pages, described as tight and immediate. How does that brevity work, especially, for busy listeners?
Oh, it's super effective.
Right.
That conciseness means each story just cuts right to the emotional quick, hits hard.
Right.
You don't get bogged down in backstory. It forces you to fill in some gaps, which actually makes the heartbreak feel more personal maybe, like a quick jab.
Yeah, eat quick jab.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, the tone is just consistently dark, reflective, melancholic. The publisher even warns soft-hearted readers. Says the emotional impact is pretty intense.
Wow, a publisher's warning. That definitely gets your attention. So, with that intensity, how does the book's structure play into it? It's standalone vignettes, right? What's that like for the reader?
Yeah, standalone. So each story is kind of its own little world. It lets Chakraborty explore heartbreak from all these different angles, unrequited love to loss and untimely death.
A real variety, then.
Exactly. It paints this mosaic, this quite realistic picture of love's darker sides. And that structure feeds right into the title, Love Has Expiry Date. Each story sort of reinforces this idea of love being transient, that relationships might have this built-in end date, challenges the fairy tale directly.
Okay, so why should someone pick this up? Sounds maybe a bit bleak, but the review mentions real strengths, like emotional resonance.
Definitely.
These stories hit hard and stay with you. That's powerful. And we talked about the stylish brevity, good for people short on time. And ultimately, suffering in love is, well, it's universal, isn't it? He seems to capture that really honestly.
Yeah, but there are trade-offs. That same brevity, while good for impact, sometimes means less character development.
Ah, okay.
You might want a bit more backstory, more depth on the people. Also, the review notes, the emotional intensity varies. And yeah, that solemn tone throughout. It's not for everyone. If you're looking for something uplifting or funny in your romance reading, this probably isn't it. Not a beach read.
Good context. Okay, so for anyone interested, it's out in paperback, ebook, and there's a digital audiobook too, about 3 hours long, narrated by a digital voice apparently. Parag G. Interesting. So who's the ideal reader here?
I'd say if you like your love stories, gritty, emotionally resonant, if you appreciate short fiction, or if you just want contemporary romance without the sugarcoating. If you're ready for love's unvarnished, sometimes painful reality, then yeah, this is probably for you.
So the final take, it sounds like a raw, pretty unflinching collection about heartbreak, packs a real emotional punch, but maybe, like you said, leaves you wishing for a little more depth in the characters sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess, the thought it leaves you with is, how does this challenge your ideas about romance? Maybe seeing love as potentially temporary isn't cynical. Maybe it's about appreciating its intensity, its fleeting beauty even more. Especially now, with how relationships, evolve, it pushes you beyond just thinking about happily ever after.